Played a little bit of flock around on my own to try to upgrade some of my photos and also take pictures of the few birds that I was missing from the first 3 areas. So I took a few shots of a yellow warbler, and while I was doing that, a turkey vulture flew overhead. Managed to get a 1-star photo since we were quite a far ways away. I'm struggling to get a good picture of the hummingbirds. I just find that they move around so quickly and very rarely land, so I can't seem to fill in my guidebook very well. I finally found a downy woodpecker, and while I was taking its picture, a purple finch showed up. I also was able to get a few more pictures of the ruby-crowned kinglet that we hadn't actually seen yet. We had only seen the shiny version previously. I was able to get quite a few good shots of him hopping around. So I was still missing the house finch, and I wanted to just get an ear for what the call sounded like, so that I would be able to keep an ear out for it. I still couldn't tell what the difference between the hairy woodpecker and the downy woodpecker was. So I just kind of was taking pictures of both, or whichever one I saw, to try to fill in my guide. And sure enough, as I was doing that, the house finch showed up. Managed to get a few shots of him hopping around the flowers. I was still kind of missing a good shot of the warbler. And a few other upgrades I was looking for. And here came the turkey vulture again, flying overhead. And we managed to get a good shot of a couple hairy woodpeckers, as well as upgrading our field guide for the grosbeak. As this warbler was flying away, I started to hear that suspicious car alarm sound, and I knew that a shiny was afoot somewhere. I had trouble tracking down where the sound was coming from. Must be down below somewhere. But I just couldn't quite tell where. And then I spotted the shiny sparkles in this tree. A strange yellow and blue striped bird. I wasn't even sure what bird that was. Well, we didn't get the best pictures because we weren't very close, but turns out it was a northern yellow warbler shiny. So we were still missing a picture of the oriole in this area, and we still needed to upgrade a few of the other birds that we didn't have the best pictures of. So we took a couple pictures of the bush tit and then decided to move on to the marsh. We managed to get a lot of good pictures of these swans. The trumpeter swan and the mute swan were hanging out together. And so I stayed and took a few more of the trumpeter swan while we had the chance. Managing to get 3-star photos all around. The mute swan was still by himself, so we got a few more of the mute swan as well. And yes, it decided to land on our heads. They were quite comfortable around us, it seems. So we spent a little time together before we finally decided to take off. As I was trying to take a picture, I heard a strange call from the tree above me, and sure enough, the kingfisher had showed up. We were still looking for the osprey though. And just, where could this osprey be? I had to take out my binoculars. I was looking all over for it. I just could not find the osprey. Now, is that the osprey? No, it's just a Canadian goose. But we did manage to find a mallard who had wandered over from the fall region. Took a few shots of the male mallard. At this point, we decided to buy a bird whistle for the osprey, because we just weren't having any luck finding it. So we set off with our whistle in hand, and we gave it a few quick blows. I was listening and listening for a response. And then, flying in, we saw it. Landing right in front of us. The osprey. And it sat there and let us take all sorts of angles. Until eventually, it flew away. So we decided to repeat our trick with the oriole. And we also bought a whistle for the rufous hummingbird. Just because we were having so much difficulties trying to take their pictures. The oriole responded right away to our whistle, and we found that it was hiding in the shrubs. A little bit difficult to take its picture. So, I had to develop a secret technique of camera work, which I called a jump shot. And using our special technique, we were able to get quite a few shots of the oriole. We pulled down our hummingbird whistle, and immediately we heard the buzzing of hummingbird wings. It was hopping around the berry bush. Between the berry bush and my head, it was very difficult to catch a glimpse of it. I had to keep blowing my whistle just to find it. It really blended in with the shrubs. And just would not let me get a good picture. We blew a few more times, but it seems the hummingbird had already moved on. We were satisfied enough with getting a few shots of it. Looking back at our guidebook, we still had to develop our oriole photos, but we had successfully taken a picture of every bird in the first 3 areas, and we were happy and content with our day.